Derby City Council has voted to cut its funding to housing-related support by 82%.
If you've got 32 people in a hostel and you take 32 people out and you close all the other hostels, then sensible thought leads to the fact that that's 32 people in the street.
We had 12 people 2 days last week. We only said we'd provide 4 beds, but we're averaging 4 people a night in December, 4 people a night in January, 6 already and 7 now in February. It's gone up to average 7 people a night in February.
Yeah, they're just going to expect that it's going to get worse, and the chances are, is when they start closing the shelters down, they're going to see a big difference in the crime rates and everything else, because a lot of people aren't going to tolerate being on the streets.
So we're thinking already before those 180 beds are lost, already we're struggling to find a roof over the head for everybody who needs it. So with the extra, 180 people, we're not quite sure what's going to happen.
The current capacity to support up to 4,000 vulnerable people will be reduced to 150.
We'll survive. We've got houses, we've got, stuff like that. But how about these poor people who are going to be sleeping in doorways? And when the council say they're taking a risk, then personally they ain't taking a risk. That's what Mr. Bowley said. We realise that we're taking a risk. The risk is that obviously we're going to have a lot of people in doorways asleep, and that there's a possibility, I would have thought, that people could die on his shift.
It's just a circle straight back in again. That's going to be your only option, is to go back in and get housed and fed that way at the government's expense. So I'm sure it's going to cost them more to keep people in jail than it is to help people whilst they're out of jail.
By cutting this funding, they are actually going to end up costing themselves an awful lot more money. They have a statutory duty to house certain types of homeless people. There will be no safe accommodation for them to place those people in. They will end up using bed and breakfasts across the city, which are unregulated, very expensive and very unsafe.
Homelessness services in Derby are facing the biggest cuts we have seen across the country.
But if you're young and you can't get a room in there, if it's full, like a lot of places are at winter, and will be even more full if they close places, then what are you going to do when you're young and scared, and you're like, because I left home when I was young. I was 18, 19, fair enough, but you're still young, you're scared, and you're on the street, and nobody's going to help you, people don't seem to take that into account.
So I was homeless for like 3 months before I finally got into the way I am.
A couple of weeks I was homeless for. I got pneumonia after being out for a week, got too cold and then got rushed to hospital. Second time, came up to a point where I nearly got it again, and I probably wouldn't have made it through it. But since I've been here, it's changed me a lot. I've gone through college and stuff like that, so basically if I was on the streets, I'd just be a nobody really.
For me, the worst part of this job, absolutely the worst part, is to look someone in the eyes and say, I'm sorry, I've got nothing for you. And often they'll say, so where can I go then? And the answer is, I don't know.
I honestly don't know what they're going to be told. Because I take it this place or before, and I take it Centenary House or before, so where do we go from there? I have no idea.
A lot of them have got, like I said, mental health problems, or they've got drugs and alcohol problems, you can leave it lying and let it fester and get worse, or you could do something about it.
I believe